We will probably never know for sure what it is that changed Jeff Flake's mind about an FBI investigation this morning, assuming that he didn't intend fully since the day began to do an investigation. But we do know one event that happened that certainly seems like it might have had an effect on him, and that is when he was confronted by two survivors of sexual violence while he was getting in an elevator during today's proceedings. We're gonna show you both of the videos. Be forewarned, what the women say is very real and raw, potentially triggering as well. Here's the first.
On Monday, I stood in front of your office with Addie Barkan. I told the story of my sexual assault. I told it because I recognized in Dr. Ford's story that she's telling the truth. What you are doing is allowing someone who actually violated a woman to sit in the Supreme Court. This is not tolerable. You have children in your family. Think about them. I have two children. I cannot imagine that for the next 50 years, they will have to have someone in the Supreme Court who has been accused of violating a young girl. What are you doing, sir?
Wow.
Super powerful.
Wow.
So we've had many debates on this show about whether you should yell at public figures in restaurants and the chants and etc. No, that's perfect because he's a sitting United States senator about to make a momentous decision. She's in the building legally, she sees him. I mean, if you can't ask your senator to vote the right way when you're an American citizen, is it really a democracy? Mm-hmm. So there was that was amazing. And remember how sheltered they are. They're surrounded by their fellow politicians, you know, keeping it real, wealthy cable news hosts, wealthy donors. It's people in power and privilege, ones that some of them might have similar experiences, but they're sheltered in a lot of ways, and a lot of them might not. To see a real American, a US citizen say, this is what I lived through, and I cannot tolerate the idea of my daughters growing up in a country where a Supreme Court justice might have done this to someone else. I wish every senator could see that with their own eyes.
You know, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was thinking the whole time about the privilege thing that you were talking about when Brett Kavanaugh was giving his testimony. Like he lives in this, he grew up in this world of country clubs and playing all these sports and coaching his girl. And it's like you're the 1% and you don't know how most of the country is living. And so it is imperative to us to be like, yo, we're not dallying in the country club. Like we're down here in the trenches, and the person that you appoint to the Supreme Court is going to impact me more than it's going to impact you because you have enough money to get over whatever you need to get over.
Yeah, that's such a good point. And just to touch on the privilege part a little more, you know, I'm curious if I think women overall are more sympathetic to the testimony from Dr. Blasey Ford, but I also wonder about privileged women in the country because when she opened her testimony or her opening statement, one of the first things she said was, you know, I spent that summer doing what we usually do or doing what I usually do at the Columbia Country Club. You know, there was something relatable about her for everyone, regardless of where you are, you know, socioeconomic status-wise or, you know, gender-wise. Like she was relatable, and I wonder if that helped in because remember, after her testimony, all of a sudden you start hearing from the right wing, whether it's on cable news or from conservative lawmakers saying, yeah, she's very credible. And I'm wondering if that credibility comes from the fact that they can relate to her.
Maybe?
Yeah, look, I have to be honest, I thought the same thing yesterday, but I didn't want to get into that yet because there was so much substance on the actual charges, etc. But when she said country club, I thought, I wonder if, and it's not just that. I mean, she is from their class, if you will. And I thought to myself, is that the difference between her and Anita Hill? Where they didn't believe Anita Hill at all, and no, you know, and of course there's a lot of other factors. It was a slightly different time, et cetera, et cetera. But with Christine Blasey Ford, for whatever reason, even Orrin Hatch and Donald Trump, et cetera, looked at her and was like, oh, she's saying it, okay. I don't know if we're overinterpreting, but certainly it occurred to us that that's, and by the way, it's a normal human reaction. It's if you can relate to someone for whatever reason, you feel like they're in your, in your culture, in your identity, et cetera. then you draw a connection with them. And this is what judges do all the time. It happened with Brock Turner. Oh, that's a good kid going to Stanford, right? And that could be my kid. Yep. Whereas if you're a poor kid, whether you're white or black, whether you're from a holler or from an inner city, a judge has a harder time relating to you and thinks, oh, that looks like a criminal, right? And so she looked like an upstanding citizen, like the ones that they are very, very used to seeing and talking to. So when she says it, they're like, whoa, wow, this thing might have really happened.
Yeah.
Can we show the second video just to front load that? And here's the other survivor of sexual violence, a similar sort of plea to him. And pay attention to his body language and the look on his face as this video goes on.
I was sexually assaulted and nobody believed me. I didn't tell anyone, and you're telling all women that they don't matter, that they should just stay quiet, because if they tell you what happened to them, you're going to ignore them. That's what happened to me, and that's what you're telling all women in America, that they don't matter. They should just keep it to themselves, because if they have told the truth, you're just gonna help that man to power anyway. That's what you're telling all of these women. That's what you're telling me right now. Look at me when I'm talking to you. You're telling me that my assault doesn't matter, that what happened to me doesn't matter, and that you're gonna let people who do these things into power. That's what you're telling me when you vote for him. Don't look away from me. Look at me and tell me that it doesn't matter what happened to me.
Just very similar to parts of Dr. Ford's testimony yesterday. It's just if you're a thinking person with any empathy or compassion in your body, it just drills right into the center of you. That just kills you.
Yeah.
And so again, I mean, these senators are not mostly humans. They're a set of directions given them by donors, but it is not impossible that those two experiences had some effect on him at the very least.
Oh yeah.
It certainly had on us.
I mean, yesterday Brett Kavanaugh said something that I thought was actually made a lot of sense, where he said, listen to the stuff that rings true. And if that doesn't ring true, nothing does. You know, these two women, this happened to them, and they have had to deal with this, overcome the trauma. I mean, this rings so true. There's no person with a shred of humanity that could just dismiss these women and be like, whatever.
Yeah, and one thing too, I understand there's lots of political considerations, and obviously the Republicans think that speed matters, and there's like a 1 in 3 chance right now that the Democrats will get control of the Senate and all that stuff. But realistically, here's the situation. There is nothing that is going to stop the Republicans from getting someone pretty extremely conservative into that seat. That ship sailed, during the last election. That Gorsuch is gonna get on there, someone is gonna get on there. Jeff Flake knows some radical conservative is gonna get on there. Maybe they'll pick someone else from the short list, maybe it'll be the one woman that was on the short list next time. But they're gonna have that seat because they have Donald Trump in the White House. And Flake knows that. So does it have to be Kavanaugh? Does he have to face the rest of his life having experiences like that while he's trying to get onto elevators? Many of the Republican senators, I think, would be perfectly fine with that. Lindsey Graham had righteous indignation, but over the other victim in the story, Kavanaugh, supposedly. But not all of them are gonna feel that way. And it's possible that Jeff Flake is willing to let this one go, and then they'll just get some other freak next time.
This morning, after processing everything that happened yesterday, and this is before Flake made the suggestion to do the FBI investigation, I was kind of like stewing in all of this, and I was really angry, and I thought to myself, I better not make the mistake of bringing a daughter into this world, because I don't want to bring a girl into this world knowing that our lawmakers, the people in positions of power, wouldn't protect them if something happened to her. And so I just became angry, because not only that, think about the young girls now that have been victimized, who might feel like they can't come forward, because why would I? Why would I come forward if I know I'm gonna get smeared and the person that I'm accusing is still gonna get the promotion, is still gonna get all the praise, is still gonna be protected? I mean, it just sends such a bad message. And again, I want to reiterate, we don't know without a shadow of a doubt if he's guilty or if he's innocent, which is why it's important to do this investigation. But more importantly, it sends a message that these senators do take these allegations seriously. If they had not done the investigation and they just, rushed through a floor vote and confirmed him, that would tell every female in this country right now, every rape victim or sexual assault victim, whether it's a male or female, you are not to be believed, don't come forward, just shut your mouth and live with this in silence. But I'm glad that they're gonna do the investigation.
Those two women are American heroes.
Yes.
And I have nothing to add to what they said. Like what you see? Click the subscribe button below and don't forget to ring the bell to never miss another video from the Young Turks.